State in Detroit is first. We're underway in Ann Arbor. Highly anticipated Big Ten hockey. Ivan Kovic gets his feet wet right away. Penn State controls out front. Ivan Kovic deflects a shot wide. Smith sends one in front. Deflections galore. Michigan emerges. TJ Hughes to Jaden Perron. Jaden Perron has an early chance. He whiffs. Back and forth we go. Aiden Fink, very talented top line right winger. Not corral the puck.
And keep an eye on, especially this Penn State forwards, only have 11 healthy and available forwards, so Casey Almond is going to be a defender that is slotted in the fourth line tonight. We'll see how that impacts any of the rotations, especially, again, looking up at that third line, that fourth line, seeing how things change throughout this game.
Mid-February, these teams are battered. Said at Penn State, only 11 healthy forwards. Here's one, J.J. Webush, far side, they score! Reese Lawback! Just 59 seconds into the game, Penn State up 1-0. J.J. Webush, so dangerous here in Ann Arbor. A great crossing pass. Lawback was there, a backhand to a wide open net. One shot, one goal, Nittany Lions on top.
Yeah, Webush took a lot of attention from those Michigan players, just left Lawback wide open for his 7th goal of the season. And back in the November series against Michigan, he had one of the goals in that 4-2 win on Saturday when Penn State was able to steal that second game after Michigan won the first 7-1. Again, Michigan very successful on Fridays.
Michigan has had an issue their past 2 games starting slow. They went down twice to Michigan State, including that first one that they won. They were down 3-1 late before a late surge brought them to overtime. And then an overtime winner by Jaden Perron gave them the 4-3 win. But then the duel in the D, they started slow. And here clearly already a 1-0 deficit, so they get an offensive zone face-off.
And again, you mentioned that first game in overtime, Michigan kind of haven't really had to play down and then work their way back up into a win in overtime. A lot of times they've kind of given up a deficit a little bit later, but as you said, it's kind of a trend as of recently, Michigan going down and kind of having to fight their way back. So we'll see if Michigan can kind of turn the tides, do what they did last weekend on Friday here at Yost when they did get that overtime win against Michigan State. Either way, huge series here in Ann Arbor for both of these teams that now Michigan has fallen to second in the Big Ten. Penn State a little bit behind the leaders, both in the mitten.
Reese Lawback, his 7th goal of the year, puts Penn State up, and now some jostling the face-off circle. Children of Yost student section not huge fans of it, but Cole McKinney wins the draw. Dakota Rayon Mullen gets his pass deflected at the point of attack. Now Penn State, here is Casey Almond, the defender playing attacker on the 4th line, loses the puck. Aiden Park around the boards. There's Almond. Takes a hit, and it hit what looks like maybe a Penn State player leaning over the edge. And already some early fighting. Lev Katzin's involved, Will Horkoff's involved. Not even 100 seconds into the game. Already a scuffle, already a goal. Penn State wins the draw. Luke Misa takes a hit from Fantilli. Michigan keeps the zone, and now they lose it. Penn State, 3-on-1, odd man rush. Here's Misa. Pass. Jade misses. Out to Cade Christensen at the point. A deflection. Ivan Kovic, a nice save. Van Olm for Godowski. Michael Hage emerges. Leaves the blue line. Here's Malcolm Spence, the New York Rangers prospect. Out to the point, Ben Robertson. Cade Christensen for the Nittany Lions.
And on that last 3-on-1 push, really good positioning from the veteran Duke for Michigan. Letting Ivan Kovic kind of step up a little bit, and then he was able to take away both of those opposite side passes.
Ben Schoen had a chance, missed just wide to the right. Now Penn State struggling against Michigan's forecheck, trying to get into their offensive zone. Godowski sends one the length of the ice. If Schock can win the race, should be icing and is. Back the other way for Michigan. 1-0 Penn State, almost 3 minutes in. Again, both these teams had 7-game win streaks before they got snapped by the Spartans, the now new #1 team. And Penn State, it's tough to beat them when they score first. 10-1 this season when scoring first. But Michigan held that #1 spot in the rankings for 10 weeks, Zach. Michigan State finally takes it over after taking 4 out of the 6 possible points in their matchup last week. TJ Hughes now for Michigan on the attack, centers it. Nick Moldenhauer working through the slot, scored in 3 straight games. Jaden Perron, he scored in 2 straight games, whiffs again and loses the puck. Aiden Fink and Jaden Perron, and Perron takes a tumble. Here's Fink, passes in front. McKenna is blocked. And now a misstep. Fink stepped on the puck. Hughes to Perron. Perron hangs and loses the puck. Gavin McKenna got back. Here's Lawback, the goal scorer. Drops for Fink. And Ivan Kovic gobbles it up. Save for him. He's been tested early, 5 shots.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Big Ten tournament last year. Penn State swept in the quarterfinals, moved on to the semis, and that started their run deep into the NCAA tournament. That was Michigan's last game of the season last year.
Yeah, just a huge confidence booster for you to get the win in Yost Ice Arena, and then again made that huge run deep into the postseason last year. Then I mean, even this season they have the last laugh.
In front, Penn State has a chance. Ivan Kovic, a late pad save. They survive. There's Garrett Shifsky to Hage. Hage, shock in the slot. Hang, shoots, saves, a rebound, score! Garrett Shifsky equalizes at Yost. His 10th of the year. We're all knotted up at 1 apiece.
Great positioning from Shifsky on that first shot from Shock. Did a really good job of kind of drawing defenders over to him. You can see multiple of them got in the way, and then Shifsky very conveniently placed, able to just put it easily in the back of the net. Good initial save from Fleming, but nothing you can do on that rebound.
Garrett Shifsky listed as the extra skater for tonight's game. Reaches double-digit goals on the season. None bigger than that one. Back to where we started, 1-1. 10:35 remaining. Yeah, you mentioned Fleming made a good save on the first one, but allowed a rebound instead of eating it up. Drew Schock had a really big lane to lay in a shot.
He did, and Fleming was pretty far outside the crease on that one, pretty far to the right. So when Shifsky was just sitting right there in the middle, made it really easy for him to find the back of the net.
Christensen, Dowiak, Michigan's forecheck still proving to cause issues against Penn State. Ivan Kovic retrieves the puck. Fantilli. Off glass to Duke. Nick Moldenhauer. Jaden Perron. This line's been great for Michigan recently. Puck evades Tyler Duke.
And the loss to Michigan State, that line was the only line that scored. Perron and Moldenhauer, the only 2 goal scorers in Detroit for dueling the D. And Theo, you mentioned 3 straight games with a goal for Moldenhauer, so looking to get this line active early.
Draper had a one-timer in the slot, wide open, saved by Fleming. Here he is again. The Detroit kid playing for Michigan, Red Wings prospect. A fall, no arm in the air. Webush takes a huge hit after elevating the puck. Neutral ice action, and finally Reese Lawback moves into plus territory. Pad saved by Ivan Kovic. DiMarsico drags, blocked by Rayo Mullen. Here's Smith, that one's blocked by Musket. Weebush in front. Penn State was changing. DeMarsico takes his time. And backhand finds the front of the net. Somehow that got through to Nick Chindegraves. Rayon Mullen presses Chindegraves up against the boards. Barnett loses his skates. Still no calls. Here's Smith, dragging, fires, and it's in! Penn State goes back on top, 2-1. Jackson Smith pockets it, his 9th of the year. Back and forth we go. What an angle.
That is a great shot from Jackson Smith, and that's what he does. 9th goal as a defenseman this season. He's just been everywhere for Penn State on offense. Didn't score in that initial series against Michigan back in November, but has had at least a goal in every single series since. So he'll continue that streak with an early one here to put Penn State up 2-1. And I mean, what an angle.
Lev Katzin was causing some confusion in front, but Smith definitely the last one to touch that. Columbus Blue Jackets prospect. Jack Ivankovic getting back into action. Second game, missed 6 straight games. Michigan did go 6-0 in those games, but his last game against Michigan State in Detroit allowed 4 goals, an .875 save percentage, tad bit below his season average. And he's already let in 2 on 8 shots here tonight. Again, Peck really held his own. Stephen Peck, the backup goaltender for the Wolverines. 6 straight wins in Ivankovic's spot.
I mean, didn't play the ranked opponents in the Big Ten in those 6 games, but nonetheless, to be able to step up, take series sweeps both at Minnesota and at Ohio State with your backup goalie.
Horkoff has a chance. Leaves for Valentini, shot gobbled up by Fleming.
Yeah, great positioning from Fleming on that. Once he saw Horkoff give that up, switched really quickly over to the left side of the goal and took away any angle.
Might be a barn burner here tonight. Already 3 goals, 12 minutes in. Valentini tried to go with an awkward one-timer, couldn't get any misdirection on it.
And Horkoff didn't have too much of an angle on that shot, especially with 2 defenders right by him. So smart to give that one up, but not much that he could do.
This linesman has had a lot of fun with the face-off drops tonight. McKinney wins again. Robertson. Pad save by Fleming. Casey Ahmed into the lineup after Penn State suffered a series of injuries, including Alex Cervagna, who just had surgery, and Charlie Serrato, star sophomore. Here's Adam Valentini, star freshman. Matt Godowski. There's Michael Hage, Canadians prospect. Loses it. Here comes Schoen. Schoen, denied. Tyler Duke can't find his stick. Misa whiffs. Back to Schoen behind the Michigan net. Duke controls. Moves it to Valentini. Looking for a clear. Can't find it. Misa off Schoen's skate. And now here's Michael Hage. Back to the blue line. Spinning. And hands it to Shifsky, the goal scorer for the Wolverines. And a penalty coming. Tyler Duke got hugged. Fleming makes a save, and then a rebound is shut down. But Tyler Duke draws a penalty on Ben Schoen. Schoen not too thrilled.
And a really long shift for Tyler Duke. Had some really good tries to clear. I mean, that one, pretty clear penalty. You can see continuing to hold on to him.
Penn State penalty number 12, a 2-minute minor holding.
Schoen Maumee, Ohio native.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
With Penn State being as effective as they are with 5-on-4, definitely take this opportunity.
Perron at the blue line. Valentini. Hughes. Valentini. Back and forth they go. Perron, one-timer blocked. Hage, Hughes, score! TJ Hughes, the leading scorer in the country all time, pockets his 61st career goal, his 14th this season, and we're all square at 2.
Who else than TJ Hughes? Again, leading point scorer for these Wolverines, now 41 points. As you mentioned, 61 career goals in the maize and blue. Able to knot things up and continue now with the 5-on-4.
Penn State not out of the woods just yet, you're right. Schoen's penalty is done. But now Katzen still has time in the box. Rayon Mullen, Robertson. Michigan uses 5 forwards for their A power play line. Their second one has 2 defensemen and 3 forwards. Rayon Mullen and Robertson running the show here. Here's Moldenhauer, gets blocked. And a clearance by Penn State. Nolan Collins finally retrieved it. 60 seconds remaining in this power play, but Michigan's already tied it up. TJ Hughes on a one-timer. Here's Valentini. Michigan trying to enter, and they do. Hage back on the ice. Hughes just scored. Hage off a stick of Lawback. Valentini can't corral the puck. 30 seconds remaining. 4:23 remaining in the first period. 2 apiece. Nittany Lions, Wolverines. Hage, nice moves. Backhands through the crease. Can't finish. Took a hard hit into the wall. Hage is right back on it. Horkoff in the slot gets blocked, and Hughes didn't quite have the hops for that one. 5 seconds remaining on the penalty kill. Penn State should emerge without conceding.
And Casey Amon just got in the lane of that last pass, last opportunity.
Penalty coming here on Cole McKinney, right at the blue line, leveled Aiden Fink. And after Michigan had a 5-on-3, then a 5-on-4, Penn State will go on the power play.
Michigan penalty at number 11, a 2-minute minor.
And this side, not as dominant for Penn State. Power play for Penn State, 6th in the Big Ten, only converted about 24%.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Takes his spot in the box. 4-on-4 action again. It's rare we see 10 skaters on the ice here.
Absolutely. And Doyak, just a huge piece for this Penn State team, had 3 assists in the loss to Penn State, or to Michigan State, excuse me, at Beaver Stadium. So, I mean, in addition to just not only having 10 forwards, then potentially losing another, not a good position to be in for the Nittany Lions.
Fantilli retrieves. Up to Perron. Backhands it in front. Hughes corrals. Whiffs on a backhand, but a penalty coming again. We heard Gina mention it earlier. Penn State, by far the most penalized team in the nation. 20 minutes a game. Certainly on pace for that tonight. TJ Hughes had an opportunity, was shut down by Cade Christensen, but not without punishment. And he'll take a seat right next to Shea Van Olm. Penn State's bench keeps getting thinner and thinner.
And as we're talking about that, it looks like a trainer is going to take Dowiak over to the Penn State locker room.
Dowiak heading to the locker room. Here's TJ Hughes, NCAA's active leader in points. 23 points against Penn State, averaging over a point a game. 4 on 3. Started with 10 on the ice. We're down to 7. For a minute 23, then it turns into 5 on 4 if there are no goals by Michigan. Perron wins. Along the blue line to Hage. Michigan may move a little more quickly. Hughes, Hage, Hughes, saved by Fleming, and Lawback throws the puck down the ice. I don't think I've ever seen that.
That was definitely a unique play.
His stick's at the right circle. Here's Perron. Nifty moves, backhands, Horkoff whiffs. Hughes retrieves. 4 attackers for Michigan. The top 4 point scorers on the year. TJ Hughes loses a stick, gets a new one. Perron. Hughes with a fresh stick. Horkoff, one-timer blocked by Fleming. 30 seconds left of 4 on 3 action. There are 2 sticks loose on the ice. Chaos in Ann Arbor. Hage tries to rip one, blocked at the point of attack by Collins. And now finally, a lunging chin to Graves clears. 14 seconds of 4 on 3. Ivan Kovic up top. Hage slows down, leaves for Perron. Spence tried 1 extra pass. 2 seconds, 1 second, back to 5 on 4. Michigan still on the power play. Crespo tries to clear. Hage blocks it. Another stick loose on the ice. No whistles. The ref's holding 1 stick. There's another one right by the puck. Another one blocking a crossing attempt. TJ Hughes' loose stick gets a stick on the puck. Penn State a shorthanded opportunity. Shown far post. Ivan Kovic saves, lunges for it. Now here's Aiden Park. His last gasp. 2 on 1. He centers for Moldenhauer. Back to Rayo Mullen. And Crespo breaks up the play. Penn State back to full strength. A clearance and Christensen's out. Takes his time, drops for Fink. Fink falls. McKenna finds Fink. One-timer saved by the blocker of Ivan Kovic. Puck still in play, never found the net. McKenna, cross, deflected, and the puck finally goes out of play, and we can clean up the front yard.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that first stick that was lost and the thrown puck feels like minutes ago. And so at the end of that whole sequence, 3 different sticks all across, and honestly it was 4 because one of them was snapped in half.
You can recap here. We had a 4 on 3, then a 5 on 4, 3 broken sticks, a thrown puck, no goals.
Wow.
Adam Fantilli in attendance here tonight. Won the Hobie Baker Award here in Michigan. His brother Luca still on the team. Similar story with Dylan Duke and Tyler Duke. Fink and Urtesi mixing it up at the blue line. After all those extracurriculars, we're still all square at 2. No team with the advantage. Here's Misa, rips it. Glove save Ivan Kovic, and he'll cover it up.
That was a good shot. Just Ivan Kovic positioning well. And after kind of an uncharacteristically slow first period for both of these goalies, not a ton of shots in this second period so far, only a couple for both sides, mostly because, I mean, Penn State just doing a really good job on their penalty kill, not allowing Michigan to get any shots, but these goalies have made every save so far this period.
13:35 remaining in the second period. Michigan out shooting Penn State by 2. 2 apiece on the scoreboard. Shown, backhands it deep. Lawback and Duke mixing it up. Here's Smith. Crespo. Smith sends one, misses wide. Couple bodies in front, fell down. Back to Penn State territory. Looks like another stick might be loose down there.
Yep.
Musket, the new guy, holding his own with Crespo and Lawback. Time is ticking. Schoen finally emerges, but Duke unable to keep the blue line. Shifsky almost offsides. Here's Lawback. Smudged into the boards by Fantilli. Big hit. Fire up the children of Yost. Lawback back on his skates. DeMarsico loses it. 12:20 remaining. Until the physicality's heating up. Moldenhauer on net goes the flick. Fleming allows a rebound. Perron. Rayo Mullen through his own legs. Saved by Fleming. Puck finds Rayo Mullen one more time. Godowski now. A deflection and a big hit laid on Hage. Back on his feet. Ivan Kovic sticks it behind him. Horkoff didn't know the pass was coming his way. Turnover. Van Olm. One more pass. Chin to Graves scores. A miscommunication by the Wolverines results in a Nittany Lion goal. Nick Chin to Graves, his third of the year.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Youngest team in the conference and second youngest in the nation, averaging 20 years and 9 months. You can see this in tonight's match as Penn State's second goal comes from Jackson Smith, a 2007 freshman. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. Lawback in front had a chance. He's more of a veteran. Turns 23 this year. Ivan Kovic a save. Lawback sends it high. Katie corner. Robertson, another veteran. Jaden Perron. Transfer from North Dakota. Here's Hughes hanging in front. Goes off the skate of Perron. Perron tries a crossing pass. Couldn't connect with Barnett. Dakota Rayo Mullen retreating. Hage off the boards for Spence. Collins shields off Spence. Dakota Rayo Mullen. Horkoff in front, in the crease. Hage finally picks it up, sends one direction of the net, but finally cleared by Chin Graves, the goal scorer who just broke the tie. Hage with speed. Barnett, one-timer, goes through the 5-hole. Go, Michigan! Back and forth we go. Asher Barnett ties things up through the legs of Josh Fleming. His fourth goal of the year. He's been on a run lately. Speaking of freshmen, the freshman equalizes.
Yeah, huge goal from Barnett and kind of a rare blunder from Fleming. Just gets right through the 5-hole on that cross ice pass. What a shot from Barnett. Makes it as he's falling down.
And one maybe.
Yeah. And fourth of the year for him, so really picking things up lately, especially, you know, being one of these youngsters on this team, stepping up. Already an NHL prospect, 5th rounder to the Oilers.
A lot of NHL talent on display here tonight. Even more that hasn't been drafted yet. Here's McKenna, speaking of NHL talent. That one off the skate of Draper. Misa. Almost every player that touches the puck. Prospect of an NHL team. Here's Fink. Misa. All square at 3. 8 minutes to go in the second period. McKenna hits it off the backside of Tyler Duke. That one almost redirected into the back of the net. Crespo. Smith. Turns around Draper. Now attacks. He likes that angle. Crespo drags. Saved by Ivan Kovic. Puck's in the air. Brought down by Shifsky. Whistle blown. Penalty coming. We'll see what the ruling is. Tyler Duke looks like he's going to be directed into the penalty box.
It was a busy area at the net front there. Ivan Kovic was pretty far off the crease, and looks like Tyler Duke just kind of got caught up right close there. He's pretty frustrated.
Cross-checking for Duke. So 7:37 remaining in the second period. Penn State goes up a man. It'll be 4 forwards, which is currently half of their healthy forwards, and Jackson Smith. Early clearance by Michigan. Children of Yost whoops with every clearance.
And for this Penn State power play, I mean 4 forwards, but Smith already a goal tonight, 9 on the season, effectively putting up numbers of a forward in terms of goal scoring and points.
DeMarsico. Able to keep the zone is McKenna. McKenna skating the blue line. Lets it fly high. Lawback already scored tonight. There's DeMarsico. Along the yellow to Fink. McKenna. Gavin McKenna taking his time. Jackson Smith on the attack. Saved by Ivan Kovic. Off his pads. Here's Aiden Fink. Predators prospect. One-timer by DeMarsico wide. Moldenhauer finally intercepts the pass, sends it the length of the ice. Fleming will leave it for Smith.
And both teams changing, trying to get fresh legs. Penn State did a good job moving the puck around, just couldn't really get any shots.
Smith enters. Shot clears it away. McKenna steers it wide. Here's Misa. Schoen goes along the boards. And another clearance by Michigan. 20 seconds left till Tyler Duke is free.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Offensive zone face-off for the Nittany Lions. Good lead pass. Shifsky here. Has Musket flanking. Shifsky goes cross corner and misses. Penn State now out. Here's McKenna. McKenna goes cross ice. One-timer saved by Ivan Kovic. One more. Shown, snagged by Ivan Kovic. And calm, cool, and collected. He bobbles the puck to himself.
Yeah, 2 great saves by Ivan Kovic. Again, Penn State only 4 shots this period. 2 of them coming on that most recent possession, but again, really, really nice pass all the way across the ice. Good chance for Jackson Smith to get his second of the day, but then Ivan Kovic snags it with his glove on the second one.
The screens in front make it so hard for a goalie to save it. Ivan Kovic had enough vision there. Rayo Mullen, evading traffic. It's Perron. Crespo. Jackson Smith. Approaching halfway through this third period. Both teams looking for a winner. Rayo Mullen and DeMarsico up against Michigan's wall. Perron merges. Here's Perron. Calls his own number and just misses.
And that would have been a crazy connection if he would have gotten that. Fleming kind of had no idea where that puck was.
Here's Spence, Michigan a 4-on-2. Ventilli sets a screen, shot, rebound, score! The captain breaks the tie. An aerial by TJ Hughes, his second of the game, and Michigan has its first lead tonight.
I mean, really good initial shot and great save by Fleming. And I mean, that second shot from Hughes hits it mid-air, just knocks it right in wide open. Again, his second of the night, both coming in crucial times. Now 24 points in his career against Penn State all time, but I mean, again, Hughes had that 5-on-3 goal earlier to tie it up 2-2, now giving Michigan its first advantage of the game.
4-3 Wolverines. Now it's Penn State who has the pressure on them. Michigan had been trailing or behind all night.
And especially if you're Penn State here, only 4 shots compared to 8 for Michigan this period. Penn State's just got to get more shots off. They got to spend more time in Michigan's zone, but Michigan just doing a really good job of applying pressure. And as you can see here on this possession, it's making some clean passes, moving it around really well.
Malcolm Spence the assist on the goal. Fleming blocked Spence's shot. Hughes rebounded in midair. Under 9 minutes to play. Shock. Misa trying to keep Penn State zone. It goes out to Fink. Here's Shade. Collins for Hage. Hage off the boards. Horkoff gets his balance. Spence regathers it. Hage a chance. Couldn't corral it. Michigan keeps the puck. Kitty corner for Horkoff. Swivels the net. Michael Hage. Cutting Drew Shock. One-timer. Deflected by Will Horkoff.
Now Horkoff just kind of got in the way of that shot from Shock.
Fink takes his space. Shoots just wide.
A good positioning from Shock on that defensive play too. Making it hard for Fink to get an angle.
Here's Ahmed playing out of position. Defenseman playing forward. It's going to have to be a theme for Penn State the rest of the season. Their injuries. Here's DeMarsico. Valentini now. Michigan enters offsides. Crespo got in the way at the blue line.
Yeah, kind of convenient set there from Crespo, but when you look at Michigan, 13-1 on Fridays. The only loss they have on Friday was a second game in a series, and that was against Western Michigan, who was number 2 at the time, and so still undefeated in first games of the series this season. Looking to do the same here, but they've only had the lead for a couple minutes in this game, either been trailing or tied up until just a couple minutes ago.
Perron takes a massive hit. His helmet goes flying, and Jackson Smith heard a little bit of extra stuff from Asher Barnett, but Perron just walked a mile to get his helmet down the ice. We'll see what the ruling is here. Would be targeting in football, I can promise you that.
Yeah, obviously the refs just stopping play because of the helmet coming off, wanted to make sure Perron, he was right, caught up within that play when he had to take his helmet off. Looks like it might have even broke, but mean, what a hit from Smith. Yeah, just knocked it clean off, and they're gonna have to get Perron a new helmet.
Legal hit by Jackson Smith. Perron's getting his helmet tended to. We'll see if it's legal at least.
Coincidental minor penalties there on Michigan, number 13, a 2-minute minor unsportsmanlike conduct, shooting the puck after the whistle. Penn State, number 33, a 2-minute minor hitting after the whistle. We'll skate 4-on-4.
It'll be 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Smith unpenalized, but the extracurriculars led to Hughes and Katzen being thrown in jail.
Yeah, and you could see after the play, all of them just kind of going over to the boards, and more time in the box for both these teams. Again, both these teams, number 1, number 2 penalized teams in all of NCAA, and they've lived up to that trend tonight, to say the least.
It's just game 1, folks. They play again tomorrow.
And this already the 8th penalty for Penn State, 5th for Michigan. 19 penalty minutes for the Nittany Lions to Michigan's 10.
Duke intercepted by McKenna, but Duke's there. 4-on-4, a lot more empty ice. Here's Hage with a head of steam. Hage works his way to the net front and just misses wide.
Yeah, tried to do it himself on that one. Feels like we've had a lot of 4-on-4 time tonight, almost as much as we've had a power play for either team.
Tyler Duke retreating. Here's Moldenhauer, Toronto Maple Leafs prospect. Splits 2, goes and finds the puck. Resets to Fantilli. Fantilli attacks. Earnesty tries a shot, gloved down by Fleming and then covered up.
Yeah, good deflection from Fleming, and McKenna just kind of pushed it back over to Fleming to cover up to make sure no other chance could be had for the Wolverines.
6:10 remaining in the third period. 4-3 Michigan.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Fourth between both these teams. Again, neither team is led by more than a goal. Michigan with their first advantage.
4-on-4 play. Here's Robertson. Transfer from Cornell, 16 assists and no goals on the season. Here he attacks deep. Dragging the puck through traffic. To the slot, McKinney. Back to Robertson. Perron lets it fly high. Christensen trying to shade off McKinney. He can't. Perron emerges with it. Now Godowski approaches. Perron does well enough to keep the puck, losing his footing.
Perron was just looking for one of his defenders to give it back to, but Michigan decided to change, and so kind of had to do it himself.
Shifsky gets it blocked by Shade. Duke behind his back to Fantilli. Duke in front through the crease. Shifsky couldn't catch up. Back to 5-on-5 action. Both Hughes and Katzen skate toward their benches. And we're at even strength and full strength. Marsico up top for Fink. One-timer Collins, saved by Ivan Kovic, and he gets thrust to the ground. A loose stick from Lawback, and now DeMarsico in a headlock. Earnesty not letting him get away with a cheap shot. Draper and DeMarsico, Earnesty and DeMarsico in it, even though Lawback was the one who took down Ivan Kovic. I think that's what DeMarsico's arguing. Said, I didn't even touch him.
Yeah, kind of a tussle in the middle, multiple players in the net front, but it seemed like the stick.
So Lawback looked like
Lawback's
he was
stick.
the one who took down Ivan Kovic. Then Ernest took down DeMarsico, but DeMarsico is going to get sent to the box regardless, and Lawback seems to be free.
And Ernest seeming pretty content with having defended his goalie. But just like that, I mean, another 4-on-4 for these two teams.
The officials having a conference. 4:49 to go in the third period. Any ruling is crucial. Ernest knows he's sat in the box.
Yep.
That one seems final.
Yep.
Question is, how many, if any, does Penn State have in there? Lawback is a candidate. So is DeMarsico. He's sitting there right now.
And again,
He's protesting he didn't do anything wrong.
it seemed like Lawback was the one that did knock down Ivan Kovic and then kind of pushed over Fantilli after
We have
that.
penalties. Michigan number 6 has two-minute minors for roughing. So 4 minutes for Michigan number 6. Penn State number 14 has a 2-minute minor roughing.
So
Skate 5 on
Ernest
4.
is going to have 2 2-minute minors, and DeMarsico just 1 2-minute minor. So Penn State, after some 4-on-4 action, will get a power play.
And I mean, looking at how much time is left within this game too, that'll be crucial. Next 2 minutes, 4-on-4. I mean, we've become pretty accustomed to that tonight, but Penn State themselves haven't been on the power play a ton tonight. A lot of times they've been either down or in this kind of 4-on-4 chance. But if that continues, it'll go from the 2:49 to the 49-second mark within this third period with Penn State having an advantage. So it could be a huge shift, and I think that's why Michigan coach Brandon Naurato is trying to make his case.
Yeah, if this call stands, which it will. Oh. It's going to be 5-on-4, it looks like. So not. It'll be a 2-minute power play for Penn State now. Excuse me.
That seems like going to send 2 people now in the box for Michigan, and that'll likely be because of the extra penalty.
I see. So Musket is representing Ernest's first 2-minute minor.
Correct.
That makes sense. Okay. If Penn State does not score, Michigan emerges back to 5 players with 49 seconds left.
Yep.
Or Penn State equalizes, and we're back to full strength. So crucial last 5 minutes here in Ann Arbor. 4-3 Michigan. Gavin McKenna attacks, shoots, saved by Ivan Kovic. Puck's loose. Around to Fink. Jackson Smith has a goal. Here's Gavin McKenna. In front to the slot. Shown. Got a stick on it, but Michigan clears. 30 seconds gone in this power play.
And we've talked a ton about Penn State's penalty kill, but Michigan, again, second penalty kill in the Big Ten, just right behind Penn State, so also very effective of what they do.
Moldenhauer found a free puck right on the center red line. Backhanded it pretty much into the Penn State bench. So we'll have a center face-off with 1:18 remaining in the power play. 4:07 remaining in the third period.
Again, Michigan in this third period has really separated itself on the shot total, 32 shots to 25. So 10 this period. Penn State has just 5.
Penn State needs an equalizer. Shown around the boards. Ivan Kovic cuts it off and clears, except it's batted down. It'll be a high stick called by Gavin McKenna. Michigan's bench was ready for it.
And they were quite emphatic that it was a high stick for McKenna, so come outside the zone. And Michigan, who's been very effective on faceoffs today, they can win this one, can try and settle it a little bit more. Michigan has won 27 of the 47 faceoffs. Just Penn State's 20.
Cole McKinney and Reese Lawback face up right outside of Penn State's offensive zone. Lawback wins the draw. Smith enters. Shielded by Duke. Fink, Schoen, McKinney. And finally, Duke pokes it three.
Michigan doing a great job in the last 30 to 40 seconds here, keeping it outside the zone.
Schoen along the blue line. Smith lets it fly, and it's in! Jackson Smith ties up the game with 3:14 remaining. What a game for the youngster. His second of the night, 10th of the season, and Penn State equalizes.
And the 14th overall draft pick for the Blue Jackets this past draft. Second of the night, right as Michigan was doing a really good job of clearing things out. I mean, he just had a really clean look right from the top by the blue line.
Bar down, Jackson Smith. And we're right back where we started. Another 12 seconds of until Ernest and Marsico can re-enter the ice. They might have to wait till the first whistle. Clock's ticking. 2:49 remaining. Here's Christensen. Ivan Kovic steers it high and out of play. And just over 57 minutes in, 4 apiece. Wow, Zach, what a game.
I know, super back and forth, and Michigan's really had control for a lot of this period. But this power play is separated. Penn State brought him back. Now 4-4. Again, Michigan only taking the lead once at 4-3, and so just as Penn State couldn't get away from Michigan earlier, Penn State not going away.
Michael Hage now. Either team looking for a winner. If it goes to overtime, they both get a point. The slot. Spence. Pad save by Fleming. Here comes Christensen at the end of a long shift. Lets it fly, Ivan Kovic. Perfect line of sight. Snags it.
Only 2 minutes here left in this third period. Took less than 2 minutes for Penn State to score their first goal, less than a minute even, so anything can really happen in these last 2 minutes. Although especially for how tight the top of these standings are for the Big Ten, a regulation win for either of these teams would be huge.
That extra point looms large. It's all Michigan State leads Michigan by right now. If one of those overtime wins came in regulation, they'd be all square. Shade falls, Shifsky catches up, wins the race. Shade keeps moving Shifsky along. Here's Fink, through center ice. Hit by Fantilli. Shifsky off the leg of Misa. McKenna hangs, shoots, went front post. Ivan Kovic got a kick save. Tyler Duke sends it deep. Michigan changes 5 new skaters onto the ice. Lawback to Marsico. Here's Hughes. Through the block M to Perron. Perron feathers it for Hughes. Crespo moves it. Robertson cuts it off. In front redirection by Jaden Perron just wide. A stick is split between the right and left sides of the ice right now. McKinney gets his hand on the puck up high. Backhands it deep. Under a minute to play, 40 seconds remaining. Horkoff, McKinney Sends it deep. Last gasp in regulation, or else we get bonus hockey. Fantilli turns up ice. Spence tries to kick it to himself. Puck covered up by Fleming. 21.3 on the clock.
Michigan with maybe one last chance here, and if Penn State can clear quickly, might get one of their own, but the extra point starting to fade away for both of these squads. It's kind of within the last 2 minutes, employing their top goal scoring lines. For Michigan, it's really been that Moldenhauer, Hughes, and Perron line. Hughes already with 2 tonight. Then DeMarco, Lawback, and what would be Weebush no longer in.
Right face-off circle, 21.3 remaining. Godowski, a slow move along. Chin to Graves. Horkoff centers, final chance. Michael Hage, waits, centers. Horkoff couldn't gather. 3 on the clock. Katzen will take a hit, and the buzzer sounds. 60 minutes of action down. Overtime incoming here in Ann Arbor. A point each. Who gets 2? Find out next on Big Ten Plus. Michigan wins the draw. 5 minutes on the clock. Hughes. Perron. Thinks about it. Circles. Keeps control. Jaden Perron, transfer from North Dakota, lets it fly. Off the face mask. Hughes in front. Hangs. Saved by Fleming. Deflected by Smith. Penn State's now out. Here's Gavin McKenna. Hangs, shoots, saved by Ivan Kovic, and covered up. Wow. Exciting first 40 seconds.
Yeah, Jaden Perron seemed to hold on to that puck for nearly 30 the first 40 seconds, and finally got a shot, and TJ Hughes almost there to rebound, but Gavin McKenna had a break, but really good job by Perron to stick with him, make sure he didn't get a clean shot. Just great save by both Fleming on that side and then all the way on the other side by Ivan Kovic.
Offensive zone face-off for the Nittany Lions. 6 new bodies on the ice. Here's Michael Hage. Running. Slows things down. Waits for Cole McKinney. Now leaves it. McKinney gets it deflected by Chin to Graves. Good defense to stick with him. McKinney's helmet almost comes off. And Hage leaves the puck behind. Godowski fighting with McKinney. Penn State emerges. Here's Chin to Graves. Fink. Shoots. Saved by Ivan Kovic. Moves away the rebound. Michigan running. Moldenhauer has Hage flanking. Moldenhauer. Hage couldn't corral it. Moldenhauer tries to evade Godowski. McKenna comes out with it. Gavin McKenna, game on his stick. Saved by the blocker of Ivan Kovic. Moldenhauer left the puck behind. McKenna one more time. Ivan Kovic has the puck, controlling.
Dangerous play, dangerous.
Ernestine emerges, 3:16 remaining. Josh Ernestine, the veteran, tries to go by himself, loses the puck. Jared Crespo now. Squares up.
Yeah, first time Penn State's really been able to set up here in overtime.
Lawback. Lets it fly. It's deflected at the point of attack. Goes up and out of play. Reset with a face-off. Plenty of chances here, as is the case with 3-on-3 hockey. These teams have been giving us a preview of this with 4-on-4 hockey throughout the night.
I mean, yeah, I feel like we've spent 10, probably 12 minutes at 4-on-4 play, and so getting 5 minutes here maximum of this 3-on-3 play, showing off some really nice saves from both Fleming and Ivan Kovic. Again, neither of these teams have really had a chance to set up, aside from Michigan at the beginning and then Penn State, right here. So potentially a chance to move things around.
Faulty face-off by Ben Schoen. Marsico will take his spot. 4-4 in Ann Arbor. Plenty on the line. Here's DeMarsico. Beat Horkoff to the puck. Jackson Smith. Skate of 400 before returning. Here's DeMarsico. DeMarsico has open ice, and Tyler Duke recovered just in time. Smith slows things down. 2:22 remaining. Here's Jackson Smith looking for a hat trick. Saved by Ivan Kovic, and he decides to hold it.
Yeah, especially with this 3-on-3 hockey, Ivan Kovic not giving up the chance of potentially dishing it back out to then push the other way, but smartly on that one decides to hold on. But I mean, man, what a night it's been for Jackson Smith. Just couldn't get that one, almost had a hat trick.
It's J.J. Webush here last March, who had the game winner in overtime and a hat trick in the first game of the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament. Penn State swept that best-of-3 series. Right now, Jackson Smith has 2 goals in the first game of this series in Ann Arbor. Just had a chance there for the overtime winner. Webush exited this game in the first period. The game misconduct. Penn State has only had 10 healthy attackers all night, and it's been 9 for the last 1.5 periods. Dane Dowiak went out with an injury. They still find themselves here in overtime with the number 2 team in the country. Michigan is at home. Dakota Rayon-Mullen leaves it. Michael Hage, head of steam, down Main Street, hangs, leaves it. Moldenhauer just misses. Last second chest shave by Fleming. Here comes Aiden Fink. He'll keep possession. Hage changes. Here's Gavin McKenna. The lefty. Jackson Smith hangs, evades, just misses wide. Would have been wonderful. Now Perron loses the puck on the attack. Minute 15 remaining in overtime. McKenna. Projected number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NHL draft. For Lawback, opened the game with a goal. Misses, saved twice by Ivan Kovic. Steers it away.
Now Lawback with a clean shot, McKenna with a clean rebound. Just 2 better saves by Ivan Kovic. Time dwindling here in overtime.
Shootout looming. 40 seconds remaining, it's 3-on-1. Perron hangs in front. Hughes is blocked by Fleming. And here comes Gavin McKenna. Through to Godowski, it's broken up by Hughes. Long shifts. Here's Chin DeGraves. Hangs in front, has the game, and misses. Penn State changes, but the puck left the blue line. 10 seconds left in overtime. Chin DeGraves, last gasp, leaves it for McKenna. Hangs, shoots, misses, rebound, no, puck's loose. Zeros on the clock. Everybody breathe.
Wow. I mean, Gavin McKenna had, it seems like 10 chances there in the last 10 seconds.
Shootout here in Ann Arbor. Last clip of Ivan Kovic saving McKenna, but now we're on to a shootout. Here's DeMarsico. Takes it wide, takes his time. Ivan Kovic kick save! The winner of the shootout gets an extra point in the Big Ten standings. It goes in the NCAA records as a tie, but this still counts for a point in the Big Ten standings. First save, great by Ivikovic. Here comes Hage. Quickly, takes his time, and finishes! Hage hangs, delivers.
Nasty fake from Michael Hage. Puts Fleming in the splits and finishes on the right. What a finish.
1-0 Michigan. Aiden Fink, the Predators prospect against the Predators prospect. Fink toward the left. Shoots it and saved again! The left pad of Jack Ivikovic has denied 2 Nittany Lions.
It's all up to Jaden Perron. Already 2 overtime winners, now a chance with a shootout.
Jaden Perron, game on his stick, goes wide, shoots 5-hole, saved by Fleming. Penn State survives.
Storybook here. Gavin McKenna with the chance.
The projected #1 pick in the 2026 NHL draft. The left side goes in, he makes it, he lives, he misses, Michigan wins! Jack Ivikovic makes 3 straight saves in overtime, and the Michigan Wolverines, via shootout, beat the Penn State Nittany Lions 4-4, 1-0. Wow, what a game.